Welcome everyone. Today we have another genius. He is very unique characters. He has a lot of business engagement in India, and most importantly, he do involved with fashion industry. He has a lot of activities, and better we have to know a lot of things from him, especially those who are from academia and those who are from entrepreneurships. I think this session will be very helpful for you. So, can you introduce Mr. Badal Shabo about you and your dynamic activities?
Sure. Thank you very much. Since it's predominantly the audience from Malaysia and all over the world, I would like to say salamat and thank you for giving this opportunity to spend some time and take you all through some experiences what I've had in different sectors, primarily focusing on fashion. So I'm basically
Yes, please continue.
yeah. I'm basically from a middle class family. I've been brought up. I like storytelling, so let me take you all through a story in terms of how the journey is, and I'll be happy if there are questions which Sharif can really ask me. But I'm going to quickly run you through what I really do. And I started. I finished my mechanical engineering, so I'm a mechanical engineer, and then I did my postgraduate in fashion merchandising from NIFT Delhi, which is a premium, I think the most premium institute in India. And post that, I was working with various companies till I started on my own, and I built something which was really, something which was a need of the hour, and which is what I think predominantly the future lies in, which is about talent. So I realized at a very young age that every talent is not really recognized in terms of you're not really having platforms. When I was growing up, I did not really have many platforms where you could spend time, you can have those resources, somebody could guide you, somebody could mentor you. Today you see there are so many programs, there are accelerator programs, there are hackathons. There is so many things which are happening in the world, and I'm sure all of you who are listening, it's such an exciting time pre-COVID and post-COVID, because during just this 4 months, I'm sure the whole world has realized that anything can happen. There is a reset button which the nature is put in, so that we all realize that for us, we were just carrying mountains while we were supposed to only climb them. We were not really supposed to carry them. And this 4 months has made us realize that it's important for us to, look forward for happiness, which is a journey, and it's not the result or something end. So I'm not really giving a quote. I think it's very important to go through this experience this whole time. So I started this small startup called Pune Fashion Week. I see Pune in India, which is about 200 odd kilometers from Mumbai, and I realized that there was a need of the designers to showcase their collections across to the people. So I started with a B2C platform called Pune Fashion Week, and we started building. And I realized that this is the connector. This is the fabric for you to do everything else further. So it's very important when you start to be very passionate, to start with something which you really feel that you need to grow it, but you don't know the journey. It's not that, I mean, if I explain to you that I started from Pune and today we are doing business, or we are present in 190 countries. It started in a very small city in India, and it started expanding. And there are so many new initiative co-communities which have got created out of this small venture called Pune Fashion Week. And this is what I'm going to take you through this storytelling in terms of how the experience has been, how challenging it was. It was difficult. It's not that everything looks really fairy, but it's not really. People realize only once they've tried to accomplish something that they start looking at the back, and then they realize, hey man, there's been a long journey. We've spent 10 years in building this whole platform, and what is going to be the future? So it's very important to think about that how you're really building your business and taking it to the future. So I started with Pune Fashion Week, where we started first to work with designers. and we started doing something very different. Because since I'm from the fashion field, I realized that designers or talent is not restricted only to Pune or India. It's actually global. Everywhere the talent needs to be, we need to make sure that we are, giving fuel to these talent, because that is going to be the new world order. And I'm sure COVID is teaching us that the whole world is fighting it together. And this is how we need to, try and see how we can really work together in terms of co-creating these communities. I keep using these words because these are few words which are very important for us in the future, which is creating co-creativity, co-communities, all of them, because we need to work so closely, and the boundaries are, becoming seamless. Today, when I'm working with another country, with another nation, with another industry, they are absolutely seamless. So, though I've started with fashion, I will tell you around in my journey that it's not really restricted to fashion, and how I've really utilized the strength of fashion across industries, and how that has really helped me where I am, and how am I really doing most of the things. So, like I mentioned, we started with encouraging designers and designers worldwide. So we were the only fashion week in India which was encouraging international fashion designers also to participate and come and showcase their collection, because they had to also showcase the collection. And I'm sure somebody sitting in Alabama also realizes that India, with 1.2 billion people, is the market in the future. How can I reach them? I don't have to go through the government and the procedures and get just stuck in the whole hierarchy of government regulations. I need to show my collection. I am a fashion designer, and I need to just see that I need to sell. It's very important to understand business from a business perspective, and we shouldn't lose our focus from the business. And hence the B2C to start with. I did not promise my designers that, hey, I'm getting you a buyer from Macy's, or I'm getting you a buyer from Zara, and they will come and they will like your design and they will place orders for millions of pieces. No. For me, the business was very clear, because I started it until I don't grow it to a certain size. It was important to be transparent. It was important to be honest. It was important to deliver something which I could really show. I promised them a great event. I promised them a great platform. I promised them customers who could come and buy off the shelf. Because the way I see fashion, it's not about season, it's not about, whether it's autumn, winter, whether it's spring, summer. It ultimately is, are you selling? Are you doing business? Are you making money? It's very important. It's, see, that's why it's very important, and I'm sure many of you are here from different fields. Whatever business, whatever startup, whatever you're doing, you need to be rock solid focused on the business part of it. It is very important that you need to know that your business needs to make money, irrespective whether you come from either, I don't want to use names from the most billion-dollar family in the world, but you need to treat the business as a business, because otherwise it is not a business. And if it's not creating value, then it's not even worth continuing it in the future. Only when you treat it as a business, you will realize that what is it really lacking. When you realize it's lacking is only when you will work towards it. And this is where my first challenge started, because when I did the fashion week, I used to pay a bomb for models, the fashion models. And there is a word called cartelization. So what really happens is all the supermodels join together, gang up together, and they start dictating terms. Now let's transcend this across industries. Whether there are big players in an industry, I want to enter the palm oil industry in Malaysia, but I'm sure there are a few players who will allow me to enter. So that is called the cartelization, and they will work. So how do you really break this cartelization? And then I said, no, India as a country and has huge number of talent in terms of not just the models, photographers, choreographers, animators, people who make the video designers, influencers. How can I really break this, and how can I give these guys a chance who forget about asking money? They want to be shown. They need a platform to shine. They are the future stars. This is where my first friends took up, and I was lucky enough because I was, recognized by the Cultural Ministry of South Korea. You'd be surprised. A guy sitting in a small city in Pune. I can't really relate to which city in Malaysia, but imagine not scale, very very small city in India. And from there, I am working with the cultural ministry in Seoul with a festival called as the Asia Model Festival. And what do we really do? We are looking for talent, the models in India, and it was a perfect fit. They came to me and they said, "You're doing good work. We would like to partner with you because we would want to see if we can search for models and other talent in your country." It immediately struck. I went to Korea. I actually understood what they were doing, why they were doing. For them, it was not about fashion week. It was not about fashion. They had a completely different agenda on a larger picture, because it was very important to understand why will South Korean cultural department come to India, look for models, what was the real thing, and why will they work with something like a Pune Fashion. I collaborated and we started something called as Face of India, because they have a title called Face of Asia. They also have Face of Malaysia, by the way. A friend of mine runs that every year, and she selects models in Malaysia as well, where they groom the models, and she has her own modeling agency. So Asia Model Festival started about 16 years back. The government of South Korea realized that their industry was getting saturated. They wanted to get into newer markets. So the only way they could get into newer markets was through fashion. And hence they thought of partnering with me. For me, the agenda was twofold. One, clear business. The second, I was being pushed by the existing models to pay them, which was making my event unviable. And I was looking at doing something where I could search these models. I could create a whole talent pool. And this was working as a perfect fit. They made me the chairman for Face of India, which I still am. We've completed now 7 years of Face of India. We've been doing every year to year, and we hunt for models from the smallest of the village. You'll be surprised the happiness, and I'll share you another story. Which I'll tell you. So I became the chairman for Face of India. It was perfect fit for Pune Fashion Week. We started doing this event where first we used to do model hunt. We used to get more than 2,000 to 2,200 entries of fresh talent. So imagine, instead of working with 36 models who used to, kind of control everything there, I had a database of 2,200 models who were extremely keen to work with me. Forget about the money or any other thing, but they were fresh talent, very very keen. And this is the future, which I tell my team that when you do business, it's very important to realize that to certain number of years, you need to know that you can be the leader. But you know what I think is the best leader? The leader, according to me, the person who recognizes that the future is somebody else. You need to let them lead the team, and you, in spite of being the chairman, become the follower of that person. So this is what I actually made changes in my organization. I did realize that I need to make sure that I empower the younger generation. I made sure that I have them in the team and start thinking the way they were thinking, because in India, like in most of the countries, 65% of the population is below the age of 40. I cannot really, think and target 60 years when I don't know how a 25-year-old is thinking. So it's very important to tune yourself into that, because that is going to be the future, and that will disrupt the entire industry. And there are various examples of how industries dynamics have changed because we have not looked at what the future is looking at. And this has been examples over from automobile industry, they have not seen what the future wants, and which is why most of the disruptions are happening. So we started doing Face of India, and Face of India was a very interesting journey. And after the success of Face of India, I became chairman for Face of Sri Lanka. I became chairman for Face of Nepal. I handled Bangladesh. I'm also Face of Arabia, which is Dubai chairman. I'm starting Bhutan as chairman for Face of Bhutan. So from each South Asian countries, I started asking for talent, and started to encourage them to become a part of the fashion week, starting to give them opportunities. And the winner goes to South Korea, and then we have a competition between 37 countries, and the winner gets a cash prize of 80 lakh rupees, which is a huge amount of money for a talent to suddenly come across, and really feeling very good. So this episode comes to me from a winner from Face of Sri Lanka. One of the winners of Face of Sri Lanka, I wanted to quote that he was really good. We had this competition, and I selected the I don't want to put any names, and he was a brilliant guy. After the selection, he told me that, can I come and see you tomorrow with my dad because he wants to see you. So I said, yeah, sure. Come to the hotel, and this is the address, and I'll definitely see you. I'd love to see you so that I can give you instructions as well. The next day morning, I met the gentleman, and he was a very simple guy. And he came to me, and I said, I hope you didn't have to really travel. And the person said, no, no, I didn't have to travel because I work in the hotel. And I was like, oh, you work in this hotel? What a coincidence. So I said, what do you do? He said, I'm the guard of the hotel. I'm the watchman. And his son, he started weeping, and he touched my feet. And he said, if you had not selected, I would have made him the guard of the hotel, or I did not know how to look for opportunity. Now, this so talented, got the opportunity, and I'm just a vehicle. I'm not. I'm a selector, or I'm doing something great. I'm just happy that I've been empowered to give this selection, and someone has just got this opportunity, and he became the first winner of the Face of Asia male, and
Brilliant, brilliant.
I mean, it was such a touching story, and I always tell people that, listen, if you are wanting to do something, you will find a way to show. You just don't have to give up. That's the only thing which is very important for anybody. Please don't give up on your ambitions, on your passion, on your hobbies, on your business, on your acumen. And these are the times, I'm sure COVID has taught all of us that, hey, which journey were we going? What mountains were we really carrying? We don't really need to. We have to spend time with valuable people around us. Depression is killing most of the people unknowingly. Is the silent killer. And are we really talking to them as if we're really talking, or are we just a virtual friend having millions of followers, but actually practically having nobody to really talk to where you can really address? This is really relevant today, and I urge through this platform that please use this message that you should actually, if there is anything which is troubling, if there's anything which is bothering, please find a resource. Please find anybody who you can communicate. Please take my Instagram account. I'll be most happy if you really need to talk, or if you need to, but please try and speak to someone, because it's very important that we do one thing, which is communication. That's the key in every relationship, whether it's business, whether it's your family relationship, whether it could be any kind of, it could be siblings, it could be friends. So it's very, very important on that. So that's how the face of India patched up with Pune Fashion Week. As we continue, I realized that, and this is how it happens, that you want to do something social, because you realize that you're working with the designers, and one day I realized that, hey, you know what, I'm seeing the designers using the crafts, and they're working, and but the craftsman, the real artisan, he's never in the picture. It's the designer who takes the limelight, but the work is being done by the artisan. He's the person who's doing the crafts. I've traveled to Malaysia, and I've been to KL, and I will tell you the story of how my association with Malaysia has been. It's been a fabulous experience. And Malaysia also is a whole hub of culture, of arts and crafts. And it's very inspiring really to see how people are really working. But I realize that our younger generation, the future, has just forgotten, and slowly we will forget the culture around the world. We will lose our roots on how everything was formed. What is the reason? How are they really doing? Today, a craftsman, if he's working on a craft, his son doesn't want to learn that because he wants to be in IT. He wants to do something else because he thinks he will make more money there and not the local crafts which his father learned it from his father by generations to generations. And this is what I meant, that we are losing our culture. We are losing the touch. And not many organizations are really doing something to empower these artisans. What can we really do? And I went to Milan on a CII trip to see the luxury industries along with my partner. And I saw an automated collection of a very famous designer. Again, I don't want to really put names, but I think they're one of the top 10 world designers. And I went to the fancy boutique, beautiful, amazing. It's in Milan. It's in the main shopping street. And I went there and I saw a craft and I told my partner, hey, this looks like as if this is from Gujarat, from India. And she said, it is definitely. So I called the manager and I said, hey, you're taking an inspiration from India, from Gujarat. So they didn't know anything about it. Then I actually read the instructions if there's any reference to it. There's no reference to it. So what really has happened? The designer saw something on the internet or somewhere they've picked this craft. They have used this craft on their international collection. If the price is 100 for the craft, they would have made 1000x by using the craft. But there is no reference of the craftsman. There is no reference of the craft. And then I realized that it's not the fault of the designer. It's the fault that we are not popularizing our craft in our own countries. And there is no mechanism that they would be able to, we need to give back, we need to make it popular. And that's when I started an initiative called Fashionable Bharat. Now, you all know what India is, but actually, before India was known as India, it was known as Bharat. And there is a meaning to what is Bharat. So that's the reason it shows that when I'm already talking about culture, when I'm talking about something which I don't want, I want the future generations to really know, it is all about Bharat, and which is the reason why this organization, which is a profit for non-profit, which is what I'll explain. Like I told you before, for me, it's very important to have the focus of business. If you don't have focus of business, you can't just run a charitable organization because you need to make sure that that organization runs in the future and it needs to keep going on. The business module needs to make sure that it runs on its own without me or you or anyone else running it. That is when you have actually put the best usage of your acumen, your experience, your business tricks and tactics. So we started Fashionable Bharat, and the whole idea was basically to give the craftsmen a platform where they could showcase their entire crafts, which was just the start of the collection. The idea was, and we did one fashion week where we got the artisans to walk the ramp. So they were real celebrities walking the ramp, and this is where you really feel happy. And I want to do a lot of things. So I mean, this is just with whatever time and efforts which I can really spend. I'm trying my best to do something for the industry in whatever way I can do. Whether it's from promoting talent, whether it's promoting artisans, whether it's doing something with crafts, whether but everything needs to make business sense. You can't just do it just because you're passionate, just because you want to do something good for the industry. You cannot keep continuing to do things. So it's very important, and that's why you need to keep mastering co-communities in terms of co-partnerships. How can you really partner? And the whole idea is to create a platform across the world. So, which is the reason where when I'm doing Face of Nepal, I'm not just hunting for models in Nepal. I'm actually setting up a base to do business. So earlier when I mentioned I'm actually setting up a fabric. So this fabric of fashion is actually my biggest networking strength, and that is where different businesses started, where we started putting businesses together. We started putting all the blocks, and what are we really doing? We are just connecting the dots. We are using fashion as a platform, and we just connect the dots. I've diversified into manufacturing. So we have distilleries. We manufacture biofuel called ethanol, used for blending with petrol. So that is one diversification I've done. I'm into real estate. I do luxury real estate branding. I work very closely with Fashion TV, with Fendi, with Bentley, with commercial centers like World Trade Center. I give
Mhm.
consultants to these builders, these industry groups, and the whole idea is because these are the people who are supporting me in my fashion initiative. They are either my sponsor, they are either my visitors, they are either the buyers for fashion when I do a B2C. So there, once you start networking with them, and that's where you start setting up the whole business, and you start understanding, and then everything becomes so small. World is, like I told you, seamless. I know Sharif, I can do business, I can do so many things because I bring so many other expertise, so much of domain expertise in different sectors. And then we started doing licensing, we started working with governments, and for the COVID itself, I mean, it's very interesting that we started working with different manufacturers. So at our own facility, we started manufacturing sanitizers, and the whole idea was we were not sanitizers. This is where the first opportunity is, like, there is a crisis, but remember, a crisis means an opportunity for doing, whether you want, and when you want to bring a change, crisis is the best time. So these are three C's which are very, very important. I can keep adding them. It's crisis brings change. You need to make sure that you co-create communities, and you're trying to craft the new future. We started manufacturing sanitizers, and then I started getting in touch with different manufacturers around the country, around the globe, and trying to understand what else can we do to help during the COVID times, because we are not alone. We are all in this together. I cannot just save myself if I cannot save you, because I can get this from you even if I don't eradicate anywhere in the world. So if we have to make the world a safe place, we need to make sure everybody is out of this, not just in, not just Malaysia, not just Korea. Everyone has to get out of this, and it's only possible when we work together. So we created a cluster of people who can work together, and then I started helping, because this also became a business for people. And I always believe that when I said fashionable model, profit for non-profit, I tell the artisans that, hey, you know what? We're not going to charge you anything. If you're selling to an audience, selling it at 100, with my support, with my initiatives, I can definitely help you to get 200. But if I get you 200, I will keep 10 rupees with me, because I know my organization as well. So this is how we got them as transparent partners, and we started working. This is the same, logic I've used in COVID as well, where I said, listen, when a mask ideally, which is priced at 1.5, which is selling at 20, and people are really making huge amount of money. I understand there's scarcity, there's raw material, there's an opportunity cost, blah, blah, blah. But today, it's not about just making money about a pandemic. It's important to come together and realize that you cannot have business in everything. You need to have a heart. You need to do business. Yes, I know, but you need to make sure that today, when people are struggling, you need to make sure that you charge them. You don't charge them, with a profit of 20x that you're the only one who's making money. So we started working with these manufacturers, unknown manufacturers, untapped talent, and started taking them across communities, across industries, and telling them, hey man, these are people who are manufacturing masks. These are people who are manufacturing steel. This is where the sanitizer is coming from. Do you need this? This is the cost and this is the price. And you start disrupting the market, and then you get people to be more realistic. So post, during this COVID times, I think most of the people also started realizing, and I'm just diversifying in terms of, since I'm bringing this whole COVIDness into this talk, because I want, as my experience has been during COVID as well, because everybody is reinventing their business model, because whether you've read Philip Kotler or you've read Warren Buffett, trust me, everybody is making mistakes and everybody is making failures, because there is nobody who knows what is the way out or what is the future. And COVID has just taught that nobody can predict the future. Anything can happen anytime. Just live your life, enjoy, make sure your business model is sustainable, make sure whatever you're doing is having a global impact. Make sure that you're thinking of the future as well before you're just doing business, because ultimately one way or the other you have to pay for it. So we started very quickly with COVID, and it was a very interesting experience. It's now as well, where we are helping communities, we are helping governments, we're working very closely with them and trying. And I'll be very happy, because the expertise which has been got in the past 90 days, across the globe. I can give you manufacturers sitting in each country who can supply things to you at an amazing cost, an amazing price, and it can really be a great help for anybody who's really looking at doing and trying to source. And COVID is not just sourcing COVID items. This also becomes a platform to source anything from anywhere, and which is this is a new business model which is coming in. So Fashionable Bharat, then we started working around with Fashionable Bharat, getting artisans together, trying to encourage designers to, work with them, pick up a craft, make that craft into a design, and bring that craft into the new generation of the Gen Next who can really use and narrate them. It's all about narrative. It's all about storytelling. How can you tell them about the craft in their own language so that they embrace it and they respect that craft, they understand it. And I'm not saying that people should start, learning how to make it. But if you encourage, there is a lot of talent. And trust me, there is a lot of money as well. People in the industry want this craft, but they don't know where to source it from. We're going through blockchain, we're going through a lot of things where I'm sure a lot of fellow partners, a lot of fellow people are doing a lot of things in setting up blockchain things where you can actually trace from where the craft came in and the artisan ultimately gets the money. We have done some tie up to that as well. But that's how Fashionable Bharat as a story started. And, we took I'll give you an example of what we've been able to do. Close by in my area, there is an industry which makes blankets. So that industry makes only blankets, which is only plain blankets and nothing else. And uh, there is a craft which is called the Varli painting. It's Varli is the painting of the gods, and so I thought, why not mix them together? Why not the Varli blanket industry uses the craft of the Varli on the blanket, and let's put this as a narration into it as a story and make a trial, a fashionable item. And trust me, it was really, it was really an amazing thing which worked. And that was just our first pilot project because our idea is not to become a manufacturer. And that's another thing that I wanted to mention that as you grow your business, you can do business with everything. I can diversify suddenly and say, hey, you know what? Forget about Pune Fashion Week, forget about Fashionable Bharat. Now I will become a manufacturer of blankets. No, you need to really listen. You can do business by doing anything, but you don't need to lose your focus. You need to reinvent business, set up an example, set up a pilot project, encourage designers because your initiative was all about setting an example to others so that they can embrace, they can adapt their craft. It was not about you becoming a blanket manufacturer. And thankfully, I'm thankful to my parents, my well wishers, and the Almighty that my focus has been very clear that I have not just gone away following my dreams just because I wanted to do business and just because I see an opportunity because it's very important. Otherwise, you can 24/7 keep doing work. I mean, we can keep doing, but it's very important that you remain focused in terms of what you really want. What right? Who are you really? And these are very important questions. I'm sure people have stayed in the COVID times have really rethought what are they really looking at, what do they really want to do, and I'm sure these prayers, these times have really helped them to refocus and understand what they really want to do. So this test worked very good. And then we set it as an example. We encourage artisans, and whenever we're doing exhibitions, our idea is to work around with designers and with craftsmen across the world. So when I do something with Nepal, when I do anything with my models in India, I encourage them to embrace one craft, and I said, hey, you become ambassador of that craft, and you just encourage it to your friends. And this is what I would urge everybody, just pick up one craft and, you become the ambassador and you talk about the craft. And even if you encourage 10 people and you tell them about, hey, what is Warli painting? This is what they used to do when they were in the caves and there was no other thing. This is how they used to draw, blah, blah, blah. And it is so beautiful. And once you know the story and you make it more fashionable, the whole narrative becomes fashionable. And that's why Fashionable Bharat. How can you make our culture, how can you embrace this and make something different out of that? So as I grew up this journey from Pune Fashion Week to Fashionable Bharat to all the faces across 37 countries, I got an opportunity to work very closely with an organization where I'm the CEO. It's called World Fashion Week. And we did season in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. And I think I did this in a hotel called, I think it was Golden Dragon or something, uh, Seven Chariots, or I don't really remember the name. It was a beautiful hotel, which was actually a mine before. And that mine, the owner converted that mine into a hotel. And it was really nice. And we did the World
Yeah.
Fashion Week there, where we had 60 countries participating for the first time in Malaysia, where people, designers from different countries, from 60 countries, who came with their collection. And the whole idea was a blend of art, culture, fashion, and you can do business across networking because you're meeting people from different spheres. And that is where you're setting up this whole fabric of networking where you can do business, whether you're in a defense industry, whether you are in an agriculture industry, you end up meeting the who's who and you discuss over fashion and you're doing justice to the designers as well because they need customers who can buy and you can work around. So any trade, any exhibition, anything when there is a business which can be thought about and it can be thought about holistically, I think it's a beautiful experience. So Malaysia has been an amazing time. I was there, I think, for 2 weeks. I stayed there and I learned a lot of things in Malaysia. I love the food and I love the people. It was really nice. I wish I can once the COVID is gone, I would love to visit Malaysia once again, and I'm sure I'll visit. And if Sharif calls me, I'll definitely would be love to come and experience and meet more people to do more networking there. So after the Fashion Week, this has been our journey where we're working very very closely. And now, if you see, I encourage most of the designers because they were thinking what they really be doing, and I'm sure all of you know that most of the designers have started manufacturing masks, and that was a kind of mask which has come out of the COVID as an opportunity which was never thought of because this is the new norm. I mean, now, right now we are not on masks because we're just on working on these technology platform. Which imagine if Sharif, if 20 years back we had COVID, would we be able to even communicate like this? So we're like really in the best times because of the technology that today we can speak our mind, we can speak our experience across the world because of technology, in spite of a pandemic affecting the whole world. And that's the beauty of technology, which we should take as a strength, as a backbone when we can grow our business. So we were thinking, what next? What are we really looking to do? Okay, we've done exhibitions, we've done working with 190 countries, working with designers, working with talent. What is the future? This year, in March, we set up a platform called Fashion Exchange. There's no Fashion Exchange. I will send the link to Sharif, and I'm sure he'll be able to share it with all of you. And I'm very, very happy to, introduce this whole platform to you guys. That is the platform which is making you an influencer because you as the future can become influencers and make a lot of money. Today, whether it's Sharif, whether it's me, whether it's anyone else, even if you're on Instagram, you may have 100 followers or you may have a million followers, but you can classify yourself from nano followers to mega followers, and every brand is looking for somebody like you where we can do business. And we are looking for partners worldwide who can join us. And when we are hunting for talent, we want to work with all kinds of influences in each country and work very closely with them so that we can try and do more work with them, get them more business, get brands associated with them. So we are working with various brands. I'm happy to work. Give you an example. It could be a Malaysian brand or a South Korean brand which wants to enter India. And today, because of the spend which you don't want to do on television, on newspapers, you want to do a very focused micro marketing, and which is what influencers help you. So, like I mentioned, everybody is an influencer. You are an influencer in your own network. whether it could be your family, could be your friends, or could be globally. So this is the right chance for everybody to really use a platform, your social platform, and try and work around and do something. So it has been, Sharif, it's been really a challenging journey from how from I'm from a very normal family, and how I grew up doing my mechanical engineering, because doing mechanical engineering I specialized in tribology, which is the study of bodies, and working designing mechanical machinery. I was on the shop floor working with machines and designing them for customers. And then I realized that, what, this is not really what I want to do in the future. This is not what drives me. And I was always looking for something more. And that's where I entered the fashion field accidentally, but then it became a passion. And hence, I like to mention it to everybody that if there is something which is driving you, make sure that you don't leave that. Because if there is something which is, there is some light in your mind that there is something which you want to do more, please chase the light and never give up. Because trust me, there is a lot for you in the future. And there are such interesting times across the world, because, when we were growing up, I did not even have a television. I mean, phones just started. I remember those times we had pagers, and I didn't have access to a phone even when I graduated, because, like I mentioned, I worked hard for. I'm a first gen entrepreneur. I've not got a family background of business. Everything was picked up by trial and error, by making mistakes, by learning from people, and by reading books, and speaking to people, attending webinars. It's all based on that. And we didn't have platforms like this. I remember in my high school, I saw the computer for the first time. And today, imagine the young generation. I have a nephew who's 4 years old, and today, because of COVID, he has online classes on a phone. Absolutely unheard that how technology has changed, and what access of information this new generation will be having. I mean, their learning capacity in terms of experience, in terms of number of years over this transition, will be so minimal that they will be on absolutely on the same level as you, me, by in just when they were just 5 years or 6 years. And the capacity which they have to learn, and the capacity what they can do in the future, is immense. I can see
I, one thing I just want to specific one, or one of the specific arena, because I feel this is very encouraging. You are very positive, very powerful thought you have. From Pune you conquer the world. How you build up your thought process, how you build up, or how you create this creative mind that from Pune you want to win this world. And there is another response from audience. Is Arak Mehraz. Has a specific concern that in this pandemic situation where 1 billion people are going below the poverty line, will the garment industry tomorrow to be able to survive? I think they're concerned about garments industry. Yes.
Great. So let me answer questions one by one. So I will take the first question what Sharif has asked me. Yes, it's a very interesting question in terms of how you build thought process. See, it's very simple. You need to believe in yourself. You need to believe that for making any business successful, you need to know the back end and the forehand. And it's very important for you to understand the business as a whole. And it cannot just be done in parts. And that's where the opportunity lies. So when you want to grow the business, you need to understand. For me, the business which I started was just a fashion week as an event. It was just an example. But you realize that it's incomplete till you don't give the feed of the talent. It's incomplete till you don't showcase this Pune collection to Malaysia or to the world. It is incomplete if you are sitting on a billion people make them influencers, because today world is shrinking, it's becoming smaller and smaller. So your thought process is only one. You have to learn, relearn, erase, relearn. This is the only future. You have to always keep learning. You have to be on your toes. You have to know what is the pulse in the market. And this is where you gradually evolve. And the most important, you don't have to have fixation in terms of your ideas. Most of the businesses have failed because you are not ready to evolve, you're not ready to adapt, you're not ready to change. And change is the only thing which I know is constant. Everything is changing. You have to be ready to embrace that. So that's, I hope that answers my question. I think there's a huge scope for the garment industry. Let's analyze. I'm a very positive person, so, and I want everybody to think very positively. I know I'm not giving you any solution, but I can only forecast a trend. I always forecast an opportunity. Like I mentioned, when there's a crisis, there is always an opportunity, and there's always a challenge. This is the best time for the garment industry to realize what are they really lacking, what in terms of technology can they change, and who will they really address for the future. Is there an opportunity in India? There is a garment industry. So there are sectors. Since I understand the garment industry decently well, in India there are sectors like you have in Malaysia. So there is some industry belt in the south which manufactures certain things, in the north which manufactures certain things, because of the climatic advantages, labor advantage, workforce advantage, industry advantage, blah blah blah. The industry in the south today has become so successful. Why? Because they did not sit. They did not say, "Oh, you know what? I lost my order from Zara and I don't have anything else to do." You know what they did? They challenged themselves and they started making masks. They started making PPE kits. They started to make sure that they already had the machines, they had the laborers, they had the workforce, they have the raw material. All they can do is, and they have the best quality. How can they quickly change and realize that, listen, this pandemic, COVID, is going to be there for some time. First, accept that. It's very important for us to accept. It's not about seeking help from the government or from a community. You can only help yourself. That's the first thing. Because you're always, that is the first thing which everyone has to remember. You can help yourself first. So you have to make sure that how can you spot an opportunity and accept the change. And when you accept the change, you will automatically adapt. And this is what this industry did. And this is a success story in India, that they did not die. The industry did not shut down because there is overheads. I'm sure the person who asked this question, I know that government industry has workforce, there are orders, but how can you really work closely? Can suddenly automobile industry start manufacturing masks? No, they cannot. So which is where the government industry needs to seek that as an advantage and start making and start doing things. I hope that answers the question.
Brilliant. Basically, one important thing we find about the change management, the change is only constant. So you move from, yes, your focus is fashion, but you have a very good portfolio like real estate, chemical engineerings, or example, a lot of things. You have a very good portfolio. You are working as a consultant. So when you develop your portfolio, how you adapt with the change, like how you adapt with your organizations, and it's a very difficult job. And present world, we say that okay, we are actually like more professional, more unique and focused peoples. You are focused, and side by side you build up your portfolio. So what's the process, how
Great.
you build up your portfolio?
Again, sir, it's very, very, very good question. See, it's very important for you to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And you need to know that you cannot become jack of all. You cannot become everything. And it's very important to work with good partners. I'm blessed that I have good partners, and maybe I have an acumen to select good partners who are, the best in their industry. So when someone wants to do something in fashion, they come to me because they know that I have a little more knowledge and experience in fashion. But when I'm doing something in manufacturing, I co-communicate and exist with these partners. I make partnerships very transparent, and you then start picking on understanding. I read a lot. I meet a lot of people. I'm not judgmental. I'm very open to ideas. So I work a lot with startups. Now that's something which I could not mention when we were discussing. So we have set up an accelerator program. I am a part of an organization called EO, which is Entrepreneur Organization, and I've been a chair means like a head of a program called GSEA, which means Global Student Entrepreneurship Awards. So I ran this, and what we really do is we go to different colleges and we encourage young entrepreneurs to come with ideas, come with business plan, and we try and mentor them. We try and select that talent. See, when I was doing my engineering, I did not have anyone who came and said, you know what, Badal, do you have a brilliant idea? Have you done something? I don't mind helping you. I don't mind giving you money. I don't mind giving you my experience. There was nobody. Today, that vacuum is what we are filling it as an organization, and which is where there is a social organization. It's a non-profit organization which I'm a part of, and I'm very proud to be a part of EO. There's a EO chapter in Malaysia as well, and I have a lot of counterparts in Malaysia. So what we do is we hunt for these talent, and this talent really helps me to be on my toes because I'm working so closely with the startups. I know what they're thinking, what can be the disruptive idea, and see what we can really adapt, how I can really help. If there is something in the future, I can work closely with them. See, I cannot do everything. I know I also have just 24 hours, and I also know that I need to take care of my mind and my body, and I need to be social at the same time. I have family time, and I have friends, and I need to have my fun as well. So then you become a balanced person in terms of doing various things, Sharif. You can't really just be a machine. And that's why it's very important for you to be, it's very important to give time. So today, there are two things which I've learned, which I'd like to share. It's not return on investment. There are two important things which all of you need to know. Is one is the return on time, and the other one is return on intention. What it means,
Brilliant.
spending time on someone, it's a return of time. I am giving time to certain thing in my life, with my people, with my business, because I am gaining something out of that. That's why I'm giving return on time. It's not about money. It's about you need to add your valuable time to something. And second, your intentions have to be very pure. You need to know that everything is not business. When I'm discussing, when I'm sharing my experience from my heart. I'm being very transparent and candid when I'm having a chat with you, because if somewhere I can, encourage or maybe make somebody more positive in terms of my approach, if my experience reaches someone and if they're able to do a change, I'll be most happy, and those blessings will come back to
Mhm. Oh, two specific things. I think I have a specific question for you. I think our audience, they are a little bit of like worried about the upcoming change, how they manage, like adapt with this change management. Another person, he is Firdaus Rana. Another person is Mohammad Shoail Rana. He said nowadays e-commerce becoming very popular. He want to add that how actually e-commerce playing role in the fashion industry or retail industry. So how we can adapt with this kind of technologies, and change management definitely very important. But from my point of view, as you build a big network around the world, my major question is that when you build up your network, you need to build up your trust, what you said, intention, trust. How you gain so much of trust from around the world? I think this is major important issue for us, and that
sure.
is some question for our e-commerce and the change management issue. Yes.
See, I'm very happy to work with good partners, and then there's a word of mouth. You need to do good work, and your work shows. And you need to make sure that you be transparent, and it takes time. It cannot be done overnight. You cannot just become successful overnight, or you cannot just build trust overnight. Trust is a process. It's a journey, and I'm very happy to partners like Iftikhar, because I know that we've been working so closely, and we'll be trying to work things together. He's from a very different field. I'm from a very different field, but we still interact, and we try and work more business ideas in terms of brainstorming what else can be done. The question about e-commerce, trust me, e-commerce is the future for any industry. And that is what I completely believe. And that is going to really change a lot of things. If you actually see what is really happening in terms of startups in education, 600% growth in just the startups in online education. So imagine the opportunity of online education. It's disrupting the whole market. So online education, like I mentioned, 4-year-old nephew being taught on a mobile, gets a homework on a mobile. So these are changes which we have never seen, unheard of. So e-commerce is definitely, see, technology is an enabler. So my friend, you need to really know that you need to embrace this as much as possible. so that this change can only come when you embrace the technology. Change cannot just happen by just talking. You need to embrace. It is difficult. It's a process. This is something. I mean, imagine giving the your laptop and telling your father or your grandfather that can you place an order on Amazon. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. It's only for them to adapt that change and then slowly to understand that is this possible. For them, the biggest nightmare is the process like this possible? The best part is today, whether it's the 4-year-old or you or me, we are experiencing the same time, the same pandemic. This is the only one thing all of us are experiencing together, which nobody has a future balance or a future, a past reference to. That, what, when I was 10 years, there was this pandemic and this is what I experienced. No, we don't have any reference. All references are zero. That means this is the best time when we can embrace this change. We can embrace technology to enable our businesses. So, my friends, please, please, please try and see how you can take advantage of this time and not just think negative in a situation in terms of how can the pandemic affect. No, pandemic, whether today, okay, let's take another example. COVID is detected, but there could be hundreds of other things which are still undetected. We don't even know about it. There's no definition to it. This universe is a mystery. It is so much, it's mystery of blessings, healings, and also disasters like COVID. But you need to see the positive part of it. And you need to see how you can really, not look at the negative part and find this as an opportunity to grow your business and do more. Use your network and grow.
Very important. Like as you are moving very fast with your journey, and now challenge come, and you have positive attitude. But question is that you are not alone. You have your own ecosystem, and you have your own employee, own peoples, and the own big companies. So how you, like as an entrepreneur, how you adapted with these situations, because now a lot of depression, a lot of economic challenge, many more things, but how you make things happen, because you have your own big industries and the corporations and the business house. How you collaborate with your employees, your peoples, and your family, even in your community.
See, most important, Sharif, is you need to be transparent. You need to accept that yes, we are going through this pandemic. You cannot run away from this pandemic, and you cannot say that what, tomorrow you will start making of the industry will be very positive and this will be the turnover and you'll make a lot of money. No, I'm not saying anything at all. I'm saying this is just the beginning of the journey. Nobody knows, and that is the beauty of this journey. Nobody knows what the future lies for all of us. That means you can draw your future yourself. You can decide whether is this the journey you want to take, or you can decide how you can better yourself. So what I am doing with most of my businesses, I try and communicate, I try and learn, I try and understand, and you need to have patience. You don't want to rush to do anything. You need to, you need to take your time to understand this journey and see what's really happening around the world, not to draw any conclusions. Stay positive. Most important, to stay healthy. It's not about, people in the world are not really following this pandemic. If it was not a pandemic, it was not COVID, you can actually do anything you want. But the whole world order is going to change. The way we travel, the way we stay, the way we eat, the way we are going to do business, the way we are going to go to office, the way children are going to go to school. Every industry is going to get impacted. Isn't it important now that you be transparent and encourage everybody? Like I told you before, I only know that I cannot win this alone. I cannot find the vaccine and stay, healthy alone. Everybody needs to come out of this. Yes, people are going through depression, but yes, if you're spotting people are going through depression, please, my friend, go talk to them, go encourage them. Transparent. I'm not saying I'm like, I'm super successful. I always tell people I have gone through a journey. I've had my success. I've had my failures. I've had all kinds of things in business, relationships. And this is a journey. We need to keep going on. We need to be transparent. We need to be fellow human being. We need to talk to people, and we need to just make sure that we build our trust. And it does not happen. It has to be step by step. And we need to build relationships in the future. You need to still keep adding more and more people, because it's endless. In this networking business, it's all about meeting more and more people.
Very interesting. This is, I think we already running out of time. So in that situation, what's your final advice? Like even Humaira Tanzila, I think she enjoy a lot. Mohammad Sohail Rana, Firdaus Rana, Araf Mehraj, Nasrul Islams. They are really encouraging with your advice and other things. And one thing just before your advice, I just want to add, like World Talent Economy Forum, we are actually focused, actually people like you. We are not only based on academia, we want to love to learn from the people, those who have positive attitude like you. And in that situation, why we started these things, because we find many people are frustrated, many of our students, our community, they are frustrated, but we think that okay, we will build up a better ecosystem and we will share your thought process, we will share your experience. Maybe by this way we can change many things, and we can give you the guarantee, and these things we are very transparent to integrate it with the markets. And hopefully in the futures World Talent Economy Forum, we personally invite you in our summit in Malaysia. Even we do our journey around the world. We will invite you, and definitely your story, your business, and other things, we can make another new dimensions, and we can work together. And definitely many interesting people from World Economic Forum, from Ivy League University, from Silicon Valleys to Cyberjaya, even Africa, even Europe, everybody, they are also integrated, and we are really grateful to you how you give us time. So now time for your final advice for this business world right now.
Okay, great. I before I mention what I really want to mention, I want to really thank what you're really doing, and that is very important step. And these are things which are so crucial, that forums like yours, it really encourages people and give them a platform in terms of doing more and more work with the generation in the future. My final advice will be, uh, the secret of having it all is knowing you already do. If you find happiness, find gratitude, is all I want to mention to people, because it's very important to find gratitude. The more grateful you are, the more beauty you can see. You have to be thankful what you have while you pursue what you want. Um, Friends, be grateful of what we have. We are really blessed. We still, there are a lot of people in the world who are suffering. You should really find yourself lucky. And whenever I see people, I find myself very grateful, and I thank every day everybody, that God has given me a chance, and I'm very thankful that I'm getting a platform like this to speak to all of you, and I want you to really be grateful to more and more people, because being grateful is the best thing which you can really do to the world.
Thank you for your amazing comments, amazing advice, and your story is very encouraging. And we will explore it. We have many young talented people. We will explore your story, and definitely it will be very interesting for us if even in future you join in our board as an advisors, as an committees. We have people from around the world. I can give you the commitment. We have very experienced and very talented people from around the world, not only from Malaysia, from around the world. Then with your experience, we want to enlighten ourselves. And this is really very powerful sessions. Perhaps this is the first session. I have very small of questions. Otherwise, I have to ask too much of questions. Your story is really amazing. Hopefully, in the future, we will write something on your story, a case study on you, and we have a very talented professor as well. We love to do more research work, especially industry. People has to know the beauty of industry, what you are talking about, Philip Kotler's marketing, this that. But we need more story like Badal Shabot, who is contributing for their own community from Pune, and they conquered the world. Thank you for your brilliant time, and thank you for your energy and positive thought and positive comments. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
so much. So, like in Malaysia, I would say terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Okay, thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank you, thank you, thank you.